Welcome to Here, There, and Yonder. And we have someone here today, Eric Garcia. And Eric, tell the audience why you're here.
Well, Barbara, thank you for having me on your show today. You know, we've done this maybe two times. We've done it with the quad and stuff, but when you asked me to come in here, we know that I'm running for City Council, District 1, and I just want to thank you for having me on your show today, and whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do, I think that everyone has a story. And as we've visited over time, I've learned a little bit about your background and your story. So let's start out with your childhood. Now, you're a business owner today, and
Right.
people consider that to be a very powerful influence in our community. Did you come from power?
I did not come from power. I came from, well, I say power, you know, my mother, she's Maria Magana. She is power, and she raised us 4 kids by herself. Basically, you know, my father left at an early age in our life, and my mother was there, so we grew up here in Garcia, New Mexico, and I got 3 younger sisters, and we just grew up here, and we love this community. We love what Grants and Cibola is all about, and we played sports here. We grew up here. This is home.
Okay, but in that growing up period, as a single mother myself, there were things that I could not provide for my children financially. So your mother was able to, what were some of the, I guess where I'm headed with this is, what were some of the things she taught you? What about maintaining things? What about education, those kinds of things? What was her influence in the way that you approach life today?
Well, having, you know, her by herself, you know, I was the oldest boy, and I had to step up and help my 3 younger sisters raise them. So that helped me to learn responsibility. It helped me to learn to be somewhat successful, because, you know, we had to juggle a lot of things in our life as far as how we did things. You know, we weren't the richest. You know, my mother, she worked at Diamond G for 27 years, and we grew up with the Gutierrez's, which they are a very good family. And, you know, another person who, when growing up, who I look up to this day, you know, there's only 2 men in this world that I really consider that to be my mentors. It was one of them was Tom Gutierrez. Tom was an amazing man, and he did a lot for the community. And I look up to Tom because he was in the school board. He was always involved in the community, the quad, the kids, and I want to be that guy. You know, I remember him doing that stuff, and his vision and his memory lives on through me. You know, I've done the kids quad. I believe this is gonna be the 8th year, and we started that 8 years ago when we brought it to the committee on the quad, and we talked about what can we do more for the community. And the kids quad kind of was dying off, or it did die off, and then the bigger quad was kind of slowing down a little bit. So we got this team together, and we started revamp the quad, and then we came back and said, well, let's start the kids quad again. And I remember as a kid, Tom Gutierrez always helping the kids quad, and we want to continue that tradition. So, you know, with that said, you know, my mother worked at Diamond G. She worked at Alcaf. You know, Angela's good people, and Larry, and those people in my life, as far as what I remember as a kid, they always helped my mom. We were always, you know, sometimes we struggled, but they were always there to help her.
But you didn't have chores to do.
We had chores. Oh my God, we had chores. You know, we didn't have the best landscaping house, you know, but my mom always wanted, you know, our weeds cut down and you know, clean. So we had to do all that. And my sisters were younger, pretty. I think they're 5 or 6 years younger than me, and we had to take care of them. You know, we walked to school, like most people did back when. So taking care of my sisters was a adult. I don't know what you want to call it. An adult responsibility.
But you know, I was 5 years old when I walked my little sister to, they called it preschool back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to my school, 5 years old, several blocks. It wasn't considered a difficult thing to do. It was just what you did. And those things, we're not teaching our young people today, that those are some things that build character and responsibility.
Correct. Yeah, it's I believe the times have changed. I mean, I have a 4-year-old son, and and I don't know if I would ever let my 4-year-old son walk to school. You know, nowadays, you know, and I got an 11-year-old daughter, and I got an 8-year-old daughter, and times have changed. You know,
That's true, but
the safety, it's scary.
I know it is, but there are other things that they can take responsibility for.
Oh yeah, my kids nowadays we teach them. They all have chores. Take the trash out, same as, you know, clean your room. We want them to grow up successful. You know, we try to wake them up early in the morning, but no, it's good. My wife Chantel, we've been married for. Oh my God!
You're on the
I know.
No. Valentine's Day is coming up soon, so
we've been together for like 22 years, I believe, and I think we've been married for somewhere around 15 or something like that. We're high school sweethearts, so I've been with my Chantel for a long time, since we were seniors in high school, and I can't believe she's put up with me for all these years. But we're happily married. We have a good relationship. We raise our kids the best we can, and life is great here in Cebolla County for us, anyways. But you know, there's the downturn of, you know, stuff that's happening here in our county and in our city and in the village, and it's scary because we want this to be home, but
sure.
It seems like every year it gets tougher and tougher
Sure.
to be here.
So what is your vision? You're running for city council. What is your vision for the city? What would you like to see our city to become?
Well, if you look at our city and our town, our community, it's beautiful. You know, I would say, you know, and if you come from the east or come from the west on I-40, you have amazing mountains, beautiful scenery, great people. We have good restaurants here, but we need more. And I'll tell you a little story. When I want to say it was about 4 years ago, I was mountain biking with up on Mount Taylor, and I'm behind this guy. His name is Les Gaines. You know, a lot of people actually, you know, he's getting Citizen of the Year this year.
Really? Good deal.
Yeah, so that's great. So we're riding bikes, and I'm behind him, and he is just pedaling, and I'm trying to keep up with him. I'm like, what is this old man on? You know, he's just, and then he's talking to me, and he says, you know what do you think about the road all the way to La Mosca? And I'm like, I can't even breathe or talk. I'm trying to keep up with him. He's talking to me, and I thought, that's a dumb idea. Why would he want a road all the way to La Mosca? And then as I'm thinking about it, and I'm riding, and he's talking to me, and I'm thinking, that's a great idea. You know, and he's telling me the logistics of all of it, of how the highest paid road we have on I-40, and people can peel off and come visit our town, spend money, vacation here, and tourism like that is what brings, you know, your grocery receipts tax in here is what builds infrastructure here in our community. And then, you know, getting people off the freeway is to say, hey, you know what, maybe they would want to bring their business here. We have a lot of land here, and we have a lot of opportunity. And so a road here in Grants to La Mosca, it would just help out a lot of businesses.
It would, but there's some challenges there, and that's the government, isn't it?
There's a lot of challenges. You know, what Les has told me, you know, we have everyone to do something like that, you have to have buy-in. So you know, you gotta have buy-in from the different reservations here in town. You got to get buy-in from the county, the city, the village. So it's a process, and plus too, there's a heavy penny on to build this road. You know, it might cost near over 20 million bucks. You know, it's not easy, but at the end of the day, you know, Grisham did come down here the other day, and she talked, and she says, you know, hopefully tourism is something that she can push, hopefully to help us. Do I agree with everything she does, our governor? No, I don't. But you know, if she can help us to bring some type of recreational road or something like that, and find funding to help us, you know, I'm all for that, because we need that. We need to find industries here to come in here and work. The refinery that, you know, people were talking pretty heavily about a few years ago, a year ago. We need those. You know, we have the power plant that, you know, recently just said that, you know, they're going to let go of their employees. You know, I believe there's 110, 115 employees, and those are good jobs. You know, where are these people going to go now? You know, so you already I have friends that are already putting their home on the market right away, and they're moving out of this community, and it's sad, you know, because I grew up with these people.
Sure.
And they're leaving.
But you know, one of the challenges is that changing that mindset from industrial to tourism is something that the community has to buy into.
Mm-hmm.
And that means learning about hospitality. It means learning about all of the things that when someone asks you, what is there to do in Grants, you can list all of those things that you can do in and around our community. At this point, we don't have that.
No.
And so hospitality tourism has to have that hospitality element in it, where we really and truly know what we have in our community. And I believe, from my perspective, that it has to begin with our youth, our high schoolers, because they say, there's nothing to do. Well, there is something to do. You and I know that there's plenty to do, but our young people don't see that.
Yeah, you hear it all the time, you know, there's nothing to do here in Grants, and I mean, in the summertime, you know, we tend to go to Blue Water quite a bit. We tend to go to Mount Taylor with my kids, and simple stuff that doesn't really cost a lot of money. You know, we walk to the top of the mesa right behind the college quite a bit. We ride bikes. There's you know, there's youth basketball, youth baseball, youth football all the time. Organizations. There's quite a bit here. But could we have more? Yes. I mean, there's two elements of what we need in this community. Is we need industry to pay to get jobs here, and then we also need the tourism, because they go hand in hand.
Sure.
You know, these people that are losing their jobs, you know, tourism's not going to save them. But what happens is, you know, if we had like the refinery here, you know, maybe they can say, oh yeah, we do have the workforce here. It looks more attractive, you know.
Sure.
And then the other side is the tourism part, where we can get people off the freeway to start spending more money in our community, because that's what the gross receipts tax what helps this community thrive, as far as infrastructure, building roads,
Sure.
sidewalks, improvements, signs, whatever it is, because we're a poor community. You know, this Grants obviously doesn't have a lot of money, and that's one way to bring more money into there. We just can't rely on what we have anymore, because you see these small businesses leaving, and when they're leaving, you know, they stop paying taxes, they stop providing jobs, so
Right.
it gets tough here.
Sure. Well, what would you, when we talk about other industries coming in, do you have an idea of what you would like to see come in?
Well, and that's a tough one. You know, it's easier said than done, as far as saying what would be nice. You know, obviously the refinery would be nice. You know, if I don't know what it would employ. You know, maybe 300 people. You know, those are $65,000 to $85,000 a year job, I believe. You know, that would help. Or, you know, a manufacturing company that, you know, can pay, you know, their workers anywhere from $15,000, $18, $20 an hour, something like that, you know, that's attractive for our community. I think someone had talked about, I think it was Mr. Munoz, that they wanted to bring a glove factory here. I'm not too sure on that one, but that's what he had said at a meeting there a couple months ago. Really, anything, we want those larger businesses to come here because they pay property taxes and they pay gross receipts taxes.
We have an industrial park here that has never really been utilized except for there had been a dinosaur museum that came in, and it was profitable, but it was under the auspices of the city. And it's my opinion, you never let a government entity run a business.
Oh, I agree. You know I'm sorry, go ahead and finish.
So even though they were attracting people from school groups from St. John's, Arizona, Window Rock, Albuquerque, Quemado, all of these school groups were coming in to our museum, but the city would not permit them to purchase things that the kids would buy.
Say that again? That the city would not let what?
They would not let the person managing the program purchase things that the kid, little dinosaurs, little pencils, all these kinds of things that kids would buy and take back as a memento of their. And so it started out with a good inventory, and then the inventory goes down, and the kids, and ultimately, there were some other things involved too, because there was a debt against a company that had really, our city had not done the research on what it cost to have those dinosaurs installed there, and the debt that was accumulated as a result. So I think our city, this is just my opinion, I think that our city has suffered from people that have brought in things that would benefit them, but not our city. And so I see the farm over by the golf course, the greenhouse. We've had several different entities that have come in and then have not performed, right? And so I think that's a real concern to me, is that we not be so desperate that we just take anything and everything that comes down the pike. Now, we talked a little bit about your background, and we've gotten off course a little bit, but you worked for the mines.
Yes, I worked for the mines for almost 15 years.
Okay. And what was your title at that point?
Right at the end of my career at the mine, I was the production manager of the mine, so I probably had over 225 employees at one time. Okay. And that was fun. My wife gives me a hard time because I still talk about mining all the time, and I got all my friends here in town, and whenever I see Miss Smith's or Walmart or at church or whatnot, we talk about mining, and it's a real satisfying job for someone who just loves equipment. It's fun. I started there in 2001, and I started as a surveyor, and that was nice. So I got to work myself up to a surveyor, and then to an engineer, and then to the production manager. So my path for where I was at the mine was good, because I got to start from the bottom, and I had good mentors that helped me out. Mitch Napton, Mark Rocklitz, Audrey Raclier, Matt Poudreval, and there's other ones that helped me be successful. They took this really uneducated kid, and they brought me up to where I'm where I'm at today. They really taught me the path to be successful and to grow my career at the mine, and it made me to what I am today. I'm a business owner. I left the mines, and I wasn't fearful to start this business that I'm in now. So the mines helped me out quite a bit.
I started to talk about the industrial park that we have here. What would you like to see go into that industrial park? I know that I'm just throwing that out at you, but what would you like to see happen over there?
At the industrial park, if anybody has not been up there to, it's, past Walmart, up there behind Elkins Brewery. If you go up there and anybody sees that, the views are amazing up there. So what is it that can attract people off the freeway to come and spend some time up there? Anything that's going to bring people off the freeway. I don't know as far as like what industry,
Well, I've thought about, as families travel, the kids get tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember years ago when my kids were little, we lived in Las Cruces, and when we got to, it was either Deming or Lordsburg, they had a motel there that had an indoor swimming pool, and you could see it from the street, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And so he said, we were not headed there. We were going on into Arizona. Can we stop now and go swimming?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about a children's amusement area for that, because then parents, and if there was food that was provided, kids could get out and play. Maybe there could be bumper cars, or there could be indoor games, that kids play. There could be some things that would occupy the children to give parents a little bit of a rest. Kids get back in the car, they go to sleep, and then they go on. Now another idea is we have not, and this came from Paul Milan, by the way. We have not focused on making this a retirement community. People come in, they already have money, they can buy a home. The cost of living is reasonable. But we have not done that. We have not marketed our community as a retirement community. We've got all of these hiking areas in our community. The Acamazuni Trail, we've got El Moro, we've got El Calderon, we have the lake, we have the mountain. We have all of these things that older people want to be able to come and do, right? But we've never marketed. In fact, I believe that we need to market grants. Because, and I'll share some things with you after our interview, that we have not done that could be a real boon to our community. But I don't want this to be me. I want this to be you. So why are you running for city council?
The fact that I still care about this community, it's like we've hit the ups and downs of Cibola County as far as, the 70s, 80s, 90s, where we're at, and this community is still special to me. I want to be here. I want my kids to grow up, go to college, and if there's opportunity ever to come back, I want them to come back, because at some point in time I would like to hang out with my grandkids. So someone needs to step up and see what we can do to make this community grow. It's easier said than done. A lot of people, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. But when you get into the political ring, it's not that easy. So what can you do on your 4 years to put a mark, to gain momentum, basically, to find out what industry, what recreation, what's going to go work for the community. So I started back 4 years ago in the county, and I lost to Danny Torres by a lot. And then 2 years later, I went and I ran against Ralph Lucero, and I barely lost by 24 votes. So I think I'm gaining momentum, and I'm gaining some people's support to say, hey, Eric might have an idea to try to turn this community around. Can I do it alone? No, I cannot. It's a team effort, but in that team effort, I'm a good team player. So I want to give some opportunity to, I want to put my 2 cents in, and I think I can get something rolling. I'm not sure what, but we'll get something.
Okay. Well, wish you success in your endeavors. Is there something that you'd like to say to the audience in closing?
Um, yeah, my name is Eric Garcia, and I'm running for City Council District 1, and I'm running against Manny Vasquez, which Manny's he's been in our community for a long time, and he's done he's been in there for 4 years in his district, and what I hear is he's done a lot of good things, and but I would like people to give me the opportunity to be the representative in District 1 and see what we can do, and not just District 1. When I get in, of course, that's my district, and I want to provide and do some projects in District 1, and then just branch off to whoever else needs help in their districts. And then eventually, I honestly, if I can get in this 2 years, and then my path is maybe then run for mayor in 2 years, because I think Modi's out in 2 years. And then from there, after the 4 years, if I could get into mayor, I would like to be the representative. I would like to have Mr. Garcia's spot, or I would like to be the senator and get in the spot of Mr. Sanchez. But I have to start down here first, and then gradually create that momentum to try to figure out what we can do to change our community.
Okay. Well, I wish you success.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Here, There, and Yonder. And we'll be back with another show. You just never know where we're going to venture out. So thank you for tuning in.